During college, it was a time that I was doing like two internships together along with my IIT Madras coursework with Triple IT Vadodara coursework. Plus, I was into drama and literature, so it was very packed up thing. So I rarely got a chance to contribute to coursework, but yeah, that was something I would love to do in the future. In machine learning, you can spend like days and days, and end of the day, you can just get a model, a PKL file if you are old version, or T5 file if you are nowadays using TensorFlow. And even if you run, you will get output a number. So this is the thing I have seen problematic for many people who want to actually show their project. So what I tried always is I have worked a lot on image projects. Like in one of a hackathon, I created a model. What it was doing is it will take your photo and it will
Hmm.
describe the realness index. Realness index is that it is actually a person's photo or a photo of a photo. So
Okay.
it has both mathematics and ML model integrated inside of it. And plus it has a re-identification. Re-identification is the ML models which will match to.
So today we are going to talk about machine learning and Android development with our guest, that is Tirth Joshi Bhaiya. Let's welcome our guest. And in this video, we are dividing this video into two parts. The first part will be about machine learning, and the second part will be about Android development. So, Bhaiya, can you give a little bit information about your background about you?
Okay, so as of now, I'm a machine learning engineer, and as my background, I have done my bachelor's from Triple IT Vadodara. I'm also pursuing a parallel degree in BS in data science from IIT Madras. It's kind of extracurricular thing. I have started my professional journey as an Android developer. I was Android developer for 2 years. I worked for a startup, then I worked for the Ministry of Education also, made one project from them. And like in the vacation of my second year, I started working on machine learning, then got an internship into machine learning, and as of now, I'm like 1 year experience into machine learning engineering.
Okay, okay. So, how you find out your first internship in the machine learning?
The first internship in machine learning I got through networking, and in fact, all of my internship that I've got are all through networking only. Like specifically talking about the machine learning one, the fact was that I was active in machine learning. So I used to post on it on LinkedIn. I used to um, take part in several machine learning competition on Kaggle or in even in one college there were many competitions. And one of my junior, he got a message from somewhere that there is some opening, so he sent it to me. So this is opening, you might try it on. So then I applied to it, and then that's how I got it. I had a couple of interviews, and I got the internship.
Okay, okay. And tell me about some means. How did you started machine learning? Means from you started from first year or second year?
Okay, so my journey of machine learning started a bit earlier because I was someone who is interested in math. So I took part in mathematics Olympiads and all of them. So I had a strong mathematical foundation. Now, the classical machine learning, if you know, is nothing just a advanced statistic. Many of the machine learning model like support vector machines or random forest, they are statistical models. Means they are derived from statistics. So I had a very good mathematical background, and on the by the end of my second year, we also had a course on machine learning. I had some videos, so that's how I started. I started with very basic Python, pandas thing, loading
Hmm.
data, creating graphs. Then I started working on. I in the very start I took the courses from Kaggle because that was a very basic course the Kaggle provided. Like they literally they kind of baby feed you. They write everything, you just have to write one thing to complete the course. So that's how I started, very basic. Then slowly I built up my uh, coding skills. I started working on Kaggle, actual Kaggle competitions. Then
Hmm.
I collected a community. I and some of my friends, we all then got interested into machine learning. We started coding together, and that's how the journey started. Then later we took part into the big competitions like Sigmoid have its Datathon, which happens every year. Then we also
Hmm.
took part in many hackathons where we provided ML solutions, and that's how the journey started.
Okay, okay. As you said, uh, the first internship you grabbed it in machine learning. So how did you prepare for this internship?
Okay, it was my first time I ever applied to a machine learning internship, so I was completely blank of what they will ask in the interview. I knew that
Hmm.
much that they might ask DSA. And sometimes in machine learning internship as well, or even when you go for professional ML job, you will find DSA in their interviews, but it will be not a very strong मतलब, algorithmic interview. It will be more of a data structure interview because
Hmm.
even inside ML we have to manage data and data structure is still important. So I prepare almost everything. I prepared DS, I prepared algorithm, I prepared mathematics, I prepared basic. Means I literally spent a week doing random things ranging from lead code to Kaggle to Python, Jupyter notebooks. I did everything. In actual
Hmm.
interview, it was a bit different because it was a startup interview. So you will find this in the startup interview, they will ask specific questions to the topic they are working on. For example, where I applied, they were working on the e-commerce system. So they asked me about Gen AI, which is LLM, which was a bit
Hmm.
new at that time, about a year ago. They asked
Yeah.
me about LLMs, how to use them, how APIs work. They asked me
Hmm.
about Flask, how to manage everything inside of Flask. Then vector databases, which again is related to LLMs. Then different kind of vector database, how to manage them. Then Llama, which was something that recently came up. So they asked about that. They asked about GAN. They asked about my previous project. So yeah, means in general, and even with my experience with other people in ML interview in general, it will be combination of DSA, Python, and some Python core as well, like oops of Python, and then some advanced ML structure.
Okay. As you said, you start learning machine learning from your college days. So, you had taken any of the paid courses or you had followed any free resources. So tell me about that.
Okay, to be fair, in my whole college life, I've never took any paid courses.
Hmm.
I was a big follower, like a Messiah type of person who was used to say, never take paid courses, only and only go for the free courses. Because that's the fact, means if you want to search, everything is available on YouTube, articles are there, you can find
Hmm.
documentation of different things. Let's say, for example, LangChain was something which recently come when I started machine learning. And
Hmm.
you can just go to the documentation, you can read the whole code of actual line chain because it was an open source project
Hmm.
with regarding everything. Let's say if you want to learn basics of Python, which I did, so there was a course like CS50, Python
Hmm.
and JavaScript. There are TensorFlow itself gives out courses, free code camp. So there's several courses. If you want to specifically go into machine learning, in theory, if you want to go, there is a course by Open Courseware, which is MIT's Open Courseware, and there is a whole course of MIT itself, which is recorded for machine learning thing. That's a very good course if you want to study about machine learning in theory, not the coding part, the theory
Hmm.
part of machine learning. And if you
Hmm.
want to go for the coding, you can either try Kaggle courses, which are good. The
Hmm.
advanced Kaggle courses are good, or you can
Hmm.
even try the free code can courses. They are also good.
Okay, okay, okay. Means you didn't follow any of the uh, paid courses and you followed only
No,
unpaid courses, and due to this, means you learned all the things unpaid only. Okay.
yes, almost everything, not even almost everything I did was free of cost. I never paid even a single penny for some courses.
Okay, okay. So as you said about the open source, do you contributed at the open source project on machine learning?
I tried to, but I was unable. Means, okay, open source requires some amount of prerequisite as well as you should be a continuous contributor to something. Or let's say if you want to contribute to ML, one of the famous repositories are PyTorch, TensorFlow, because these are open source libraries. So you can contribute to them, or you can contribute to the ongoing ML projects. But I never got a chance, or to be specific, I never tried to contribute to them because during college it was a time that I was doing like two internships together along with my IIT Madras coursework with Triple IT Vadodara coursework. Plus, I was into drama and literature, so it was very packed up thing. So I rarely got a chance to contribute to coursework, but yeah, that was something I would love to do in the future.
Okay, okay. And which were your projects related to the machine learning? And how do you work on these projects to make it successful? Because to make the machine learning process is a little bit means difficult, I think. It's not a difficult, but it takes more time than any of the other projects in any of the other fields. So how you build that project? So tell me about that.
Okay. So when it comes to machine learning project, one of the basic problem is, let's say you created a web development project. You can see it that this is a website thing. In machine learning, you can spend like days and days, and end of the day, you can just get a model, a PKL file if you are old version, or T5 file if you are nowadays using TensorFlow. And even if you run, you will get output a number. So this is a thing I have seen problematic for many people who want to actually show their project. So what I tried always is I have worked a lot on image projects. Like in one of a hackathon, I created a model. What it was doing is it will take your photo and it will
Hmm.
describe the realness index. Realness index is that it is actually a person's photo or a photo of a photo. So
Okay.
it has both mathematics and ML model integrated inside of it. And plus it has a re-identification. Re-identification is the ML models which will match two photos. Like your previous photo and now photo, I can match that, okay, you both are the same photo. So as such, training part was simple, but actually doing this project, what I did is I created a Flask server and hosted it there, and then created APIs for it. So if you want to try that project, you can just go to the Postman, uh, copy that API link, and put your image, and you can just test that project. That's the one way of doing it. Nowadays, people are also using Streamlit or Chainlit. These are different software,
Hmm.
not a software. These are WebKits, fro- from which what you can do is you can just simply connect your project to the website. For example, recently I went to a summer school. ACM hosted a summer school in IT Gandhinagar. I was there for 2 weeks. There we created a chatbot, not a chatbot per se, but a conversational AI where you can ask
Ah,
question to the bond data. Recently, Government of India declared about the political bonds. So you can ask questions like how many on this day, how much bond has been given to BJP, who gave
hmm,
the
hmm, hmm.
maximum bond to BJP. So you
Okay.
can ask this type of question. Now, what we created was a proper agent system where there was a LLM involved. You
Hmm,
ask
hmm, hmm.
question to it, it will generate a SQL query, you will search it. But to host it, we used a software called Streamlit. So it will just
Hmm.
make it beautiful. Like you can, there's a place to ask question and it will do everything. So yeah, these are the two major ways by which you can present your ML. Otherwise, creating a ML project is more of like you spend time data cleaning, model training, or sometimes you can just spend time on Kaggle hackathons or Kaggle competitions. These are good enough.
Okay. Okay. And how many means how much time it takes to make or to make any of the one project in machine learning? Good machine learning project as you are experienced in machine learning, so you know how many time it takes to make one of the project good project in machine learning.
I would say a good machine learning project will easily take you like a week to 10 days
Okay.
because there are so many on the far look, it just look like you are training a model, but if you go into deep, there are several factors to consider. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to look at the data, how it is represented. First, you have to even look at the problem statement. Means a good machine learning project is not a model, it's a problem statement. Like
Okay.
you are trying to detect cancer, you are trying to do a translation, you are trying to do
Mm-hmm.
unpaired translation. Unpaired means you don't have the pairing, you just have a corpus of English, you have a corpus of Hindi. Now you're creating a translation model. So generally, a machine learning model starts with preparing your data or understanding your data.
Mm.
Let's I take an example of MRI CT translation, which is a
Okay.
medical type of problem statement, and it is a bit difficult. Means it's not something that is still solved completely. So let's say I have a bunch of MRIs and a bunch of CT. Now I start with a project to convert this MRI into CT. That's my project. First step will be to understand the data, how my MRI data look, what are the distributions, what are size, what is the CT size, its
Mm.
distribution. Then there are mathematical implication of it, like MRI has the Laplacian loss, CT has some other kind of losses. Then after you are done with this, you create an architecture that, okay,
Mm.
for example, you can use here CC GAN, which is conditional cyclic GAN, to do this. Are this paired or unpaired? So this decision took place, then you train the model. Now, generally, we train our first model in 1 or 2 days. Then what we have to do is hyperparameter tune, that we
Okay.
change some settings, retrain it to get a better output, and we just keep repeating it. So yeah, a good project will easily take you 10 days, because last few days you also have to give towards like how to present this thing. Either you create a
Yeah.
website, you create a server of it, you do so many things. So it will easily take 10 days.
Okay. Okay. Can you provide some of the roadmap? How can any of the person, if he or she wants to start the machine learning, so how can that person start the machine learning? Means what can be the not the easy roadmap, but the good roadmap? वहाँ से means कम से कम फंसे तो नहीं means there should not be a lots of resources, so वो confuse हो. So any of the straightforward roadmap how can we learn machine learning?
Okay, so if you want to start machine learning, I'm assuming that you are someone who knows a bit of coding. You have a
Okay.
bit of coding background, and if you want to now start machine learning, I will
Hmm.
advise this: start with basic Python data handling.
Okay.
Provide 1 week and
Hmm.
spend your time on data, like import a data, import a CSV file, create graphs out of it, create different representation of data. Then there is something called like statistics, derive statistics out of it. What is the average? What is the mean? What is the distribution? Understand the data. During this time, while you are learning this, because this all comes under data handling or data importing or data preparation,
Hmm.
along with site, just learn a bit of statistics, like what is means of standard deviation, what is the average, what are laws. If we say mean square error, what is the mean square error? Because I have seen people doing machine learning just by writing like model dot fit and model dot train and doing things. But if you go this path, it's very small. You will just learn, you will become a coder person. And I can write a better coding codes from ChatGPT 4 than a person. So if you really want to machine learning engineer, grab a mathematics out of it. So spend 1 or 2 weeks in this data thing. After then, start with classical machine learning models, like very beginning models like random forest, linear regression, KNN, K-means. Go through this model. And while going through this model, also understand how they are working. Means if you took any undergrad course in machine learning, they will teach you how these models work, and these are important because even when right now I'm writing a journal paper on machine learning, on
Hmm.
scalable machine learning, and here I required all that things that I've learned mathematics. So keep learning mathematics and then start with this basic model. Once you are stable with this basic model, then you should work on something called hyperparameter tuning. Hyperparameter tuning is something you learn that given a model, how to improve it. So this whole thing might take you like 15 days to 20 days, starting from data and basic classical model. And then
Hmm.
you should move to neural networks, because
Okay.
nowadays most of things are neural network based. So then you should start with neural networks, start with basic neural networks like FNN, feed forward network, or simple networks.
Hmm.
Then slowly build upon it. Like, start with simple models, then create convolutional models. Convolutional models are the models used for images. Once you go on this path, then see, this is a whole pathway which is based on like supervised learning. You have input and output data. There is a unsupervised learning as well, but it is majorly limited to clustering. But now leaving this path, you can have a whole another path called a reinforcement learning. Now here it is a model which learns from environment. So even if you want to go into this reinforcement learning part, first complete till the basic models like classical models. Then you have a choice. You can either go into reinforcement learning. Reinforcement
Mm,
learning is how car learns how to drive. There is no data that okay, if a person turned right, there is no nothing kind of data. It works based on what the environment is. Then there is a field of neural nets. Inside neural net, then there is whole different fields like image, which we call
mm,
vision, NLP, which covers large language models and all of them. Then you can even go into the statistical machine learning, like prediction, time scale prediction, like what will happen, how will the stock price will be, how much rainfall will happen in next 1 year. This kind of prediction you can. So yeah,
mm.
this is the means you start with a math, you start with data, you do classical machine learning, then you just spend a bit time in all of this, do a bit of reinforcement learning, a bit of neural net, and whatever interests you, just go on with that.
Okay.
But I will always suggest to follow a course. It's
Mm,
generally a better idea to get some kind of course which will, because if you go like empty handed in this machine learning territory, you might get lost because there are
mm,
so many things. You can
mm.
spend a year on just classical models and it will not get finished. So take a course, it will actually complete you from like basic to neural nets, and after that you can just wander around yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And also you had given some bit of project, good projects we can make while learning the machine learning. And my next question will be to that is, as we knows that machine learning भी अभी बहुत boom हो रहा. So most of the people are doing machine learning. So how can we stand out, or how can we improve our skills in machine learning to make ourselves better?
Okay. Okay. This is one of a question that it was asked when I was in a summer school. If you know about the Professor Mawsam, he was one of a very well renowned professor of IIT Delhi, and he's one of
Okay,
a pioneer of NLP in India.
okay,
He said that no matter what new technology comes, basics will never change. If
okay.
you know basics, you can do anything. And I've seen this with many of my juniors as well. They don't
Hmm,
cover basics that thoroughly. First, cover basics very thoroughly. You should know terminologies which are used. You should know why something is working like that. Like if
hmm,
you go into the NLP, there are whole transformer models which are very big in nature. Like LLM is kind of ChatGPT is a transformer. So
hmm,
how a transformer works. If you know that, no matter what new things come, like if you learn about recently LoRa and PEFT, those are two new kinds of fine tuning methods. Like if you
hmm,
have, let's say I have a GPT kind of a model, like a chat GPT kind of a model, I want to
okay,
fine tune it to work on the legal matter. Now, old method was to just fine tune the complete LLM or just add new layers and fine tune it, which was very, it cost a lot, it will take a lot of time, and it need a lot of computational power.
okay,
New things comes like PAFT and LoRa, which will do it in the shorter time with less computation. But to
yeah,
understand this PAFT and LoRa, you need again to go back to the base. So if you want to stand out, first understand basic very well, because any person who is good in machine learning can identify that you know basic and you don't. Second, create meaningful projects. Don't create
okay,
random projects like cat dog classifier. Everyone is making it. Don't create projects like yoga pose detection. I am look miss- you can scroll through LinkedIn and every day you can find a new yoga pose detector someone has made. Don't create that whiteboard kind of a thing that you click here and you can draw. These are projects many people have made. Create project meaningful. For example, this is not a machine learning project, but this is the example. During my second year, we had a fight between some of our hackathon teammates that
hmm,
if a girl posts on LinkedIn, she will get a higher amount of reaction than a boy on the same topic.
Okay.
Now we had a fight, I like prove it. So I created a very small project with Python which scraped the LinkedIn data. At that
Hmm.
time, this cloud things comes when you do certain things and you can get some goodies.
Yeah. Mhm.
It has come up, means the result has been declared. So everyone is posting about many people. So I just scrapped with that tag that anyone is posting, scrap it, get how many followers that person have, how
Hmm.
many interactions that person post get, means how many like, means I create a formula, likes plus 10 times comments plus 20 times of repost. And now the problem comes is LinkedIn don't have a gender thing. You can't find a gender of a person for LinkedIn. So there is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
API called there is a API called gender API, which can predict a gender based on a name. And that was good enough for me. So I created this very small project. It was not even a two file, it was a single file project to just prove to my friend that okay, if a male and a woman they both post the same thing, woman will get 48% higher interaction than a male. Now
The comparison, yeah.
this is yeah, this is a very simple project. Anyone with a basic knowledge of Python and web scripting can do it. But after this project, I put it into my resume, just one line of it. And for every interview, be it
Hmm.
machine learning interview, be it an Android interview, be it the interview with Minister of Education, everyone asked about this project. And this is one of the projects that made me stand out.
Okay.
So create projects that are meaningful. Like it can be very simple. Like you can create a project to detect is uh, when I'm playing games, do my professor come up or not? You can put a camera in my professor come up, your screen should change. Very basic project. But when you create this type of project first, you have no support. Like no one has created this kind of project before. So you have to create everything from scratch. And you will learn a lot when you create from scratch. Second, you will have to make it work in a real life. You can't change the parameters here. Like when we create docket, we can say that okay, doc image should be 10 by 10. Here you can't change that. Here everything will be out in public and you have to create things like that. So this kind of project will make you stand out a lot because even interviewers know that creating a project which works in a real life is way hard than creating a very complicated project but just work on your computer. So if you
Okay.
want to stand out, clear your basic very much and create simple yet innovative projects.
Okay. So now, Bhaiya, tell me about how are the interview rounds of an machine learning intern और आप आपने जैसे मशीन लर्निंग में इंटर्नशिप की है तो आपके राउंड्स कैसे थे इंटरव्यू राउंड्स कैसे हुए थे मशीन लर्निंग और क्या क्या पूछा गया था इंटरव्यूज में.
ओके, तो एज आई सेड कि एमएल राउंड मतलब एमएल के जो इंटरव्यूज होते हैं जनरली उसमें डीएस से भी पूछा जाता है जनरली.
हाँ.
एंड आज भी मतलब इवन गूगल के पोजीशंस में भी या फिर किसी भी बड़ी कंपनी के भी डीएस से होगा. तो यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट वन और टू डीएस क्वेश्चन विच विल बी जनरली पाइथन बेस्ड. तो पाइथन बेस्ड डीएस होगा. After that, you might expect one round of discussion about जो कंपनी काम कर रही है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर कोई इमेज बेस्ड कंपनी होगी, यू दे विल आस्क यू अबाउट थियरी. एमएल इंटरव्यूज में थियरी पूछी जाती है और बहुत हद तक पूछी जाती है एक्चुअली में. दे कैन गो वेरी डीप. दे विल आस्क यू अबाउट जैसे अगर इमेज में काम कर रहे हो तो कन्वोल्यूशन क्या होता है, मैक्स पूलिंग क्या होती है, कन्वोल्यूशन कैसे बनता है, कर्नल साइजेस क्या है. यू कैन दे विल आस्क यू अबाउट हाइपर पैरामीटर ट्यूनिंग, वो सब होगा. एंड जनरली जब इंटरव्यू के जो कोडिंग पार्ट होता है, जो कोडिंग इंटरव्यू होगा या फिर टेक्निकल इंटरव्यू होगा, दे विल नॉट आस्क यू टू क्रिएट अ मशीन लर्निंग मॉडल बट दे विल डेफिनेटली आस्क यू टू डू समथिंग विद द डेटा. क्योंकि एमएल में आज भी 80% ऑफ जो हमारा टाइम होता है वो डेटा के पास जाता है. डेटा क्लीनिंग, डेटा प्रोसेसिंग, डेटा एंगेजमेंट उन सब में जाता है. तो जैसे आज तक मेरे जितने इंटरव्यू में, एक इंटरव्यू में मुझे पूछा गया था कि एक डेटा फाइल है जो करप्टेड है, मतलब कुछ लाइंस मिसिंग है, कुछ कॉमास मिसिंग है, तो उसको लोड कैसे करोगे तुम. तो देयर आर स्पेशल टेक्निक्स टू लोड इट. जेसन फाइल्स को लोड कैसे करोगे, देन मतलब क्लीन कैसे करोगे, जैसे एक फाइल दी उसके अंदर बहुत सारी खाली जगह है, तो उसको कैसे फिल करोगे। अब देर आर मेथड्स, एवरेज फीलिंग होती है, जीरो फीलिंग होती है, तो उन सब के बारे में पूछा जाएगा। तो जनरली यही होता है, there will be one round of DSA, there will be one round regarding technical मतलब theoretical technicalities, and there will be one round which will be coding, which
Okay.
in 90% of cases will be related to data, but they might also ask you about some basic model training, क्योंकि यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि वो कभी एक्चुअल मॉडल ट्रेनिंग नहीं पूछ सकते। एक एक्चुअल मॉडल को ट्रेन में 3 से 4 घंटे लग जाते हैं। ये जो बड़े न्यूरल नेट मॉडल होते हैं विच टेक्स 3 to 4 hours टू ट्रेन, तो वो रैली पूछा जाता है। बट हाँ, वो थियोरी में पूछा जाएगा कि मॉडल को इतना टाइम लग रहा है तो उसे कम कैसे करे, वो सब थियोरी में आएगा। जो
Okay.
टेक्निकल इंटरव्यू होगा उसमें दे विल आस्क यू अबाउट डेटा, कि डेटा लोड कैसे होगा, डेटा क्लीन कैसे होगा, मॉडल कैसे बनेंगे, मॉडल्स को हाइपर पैरामीटर कैसे सेट होते हैं, वो सब होता है। तो जनरली मोस्टली इंटरव्यू ऐसे 3 पार्ट में डिवाइड होता है। ओके, देयर इज HR राउंड होता है, बट वो हर जगह होता है, तो दैट यू कैन
Last में हाँ.
कंसिडर।
Okay. And tell me how we means how you deploy any of the machine learning project, because it is very hard. Means not very hard, but it is I think it is something different than any of the Monstack project or web project or Android project. So tell me how you deploy any of the machine learning project.
Okay, so see, whenever it's come to machine learning project, you can understand it like 2 पार्ट होते हैं। वन इज द मॉडल ट्रेनिंग जो अलग चलती है, which is generally done on something which has very high computational power, like collab या फिर kaggle या फिर GPUs पे की जाती है ये। तो एक मशीन लर्निंग ट्रेनिंग होती है, वो अलग होती है, विच इज पाइपलाइन। मतलब जनरली डेटा लाया तुमने, मॉडल बन गया। अब मॉडल बन गया एक बार, देन उस मॉडल को एक्सपोर्ट किया जाता है एक फाइल में। अब कौन सी फाइल में एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हो वो अलग अलग होता है। H5 पहले H5 है, देन T5 है, ये सारे अलग अलग मॉडल्स है। पिकल फाइल्स में भी कभी कभी एक्सपोर्ट कर देते हैं हम लोग। तो अब क्या होता है, अब तो तुमने पूरा मॉडल बनाया है, तुम्हें एक ही समझनी पड़ेगी, जब मॉडल है विच इज नथिंग, इज जस्ट मैथमेटिकल फंक्शन, कि तुमने अंदर कुछ नंबर भेजे, वो आउटपुट कुछ नंबर भेजेगा, मॉडल उतना ही। तब मॉडल को एक फाइल में निकाल दिया जाता है। अब लेट्स से मुझे होस्ट करना, फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स से मैंने रॉक पेपर सीजर बनाया, कि एक ऐसा मॉडल है जिसके अंदर रॉक पेपर सीजर की फोटो डालो ऐसे हाथ वाली, तो वो लिख के दे देगा कि ये रॉक है, ये पेपर है, सीजर। ठीक है। तो इसको डिप्लॉय करना, कैसे डिप्लॉय करेंगे, पहले वो मॉडल बनेगा, वो मॉडल को तुम फाइल में कन्वर्ट करोगे। नाउ यू विल चूज अ होस्टिंग, जनरली क्लाउड बेस्ड होस्टिंग ली जाती है। यू कैन गो फॉर गूगल क्लाउड, गूगल AWS, इवन फ्री भी होते हैं, जैसे पाइथन एनीवेयर है, नेटलीफाई है, ये सारी फ्री है। तो वहां पे जाते हैं, देन वहां पे फ्लास्क पे जनरली लिखा जाता है। नॉर्मली फ्लास्क पे लिख लेते हैं हम लोग, सिंपल होता है इसलिए। तो देन फ्लास्क पे लिखते हैं, और देन फ्लास्क पे उस फाइल को इंपोर्ट करना होता है। तो दैट फाइल नाउ विल एक्ट एज अ फंक्शन। तो अब क्या होगा, तुम वेब टेक्नोलॉजीज यूज होगी यहाँ पे, वो होता है, दिस इज द पॉइंट। तुम कभी भी ML मॉडल को सिर्फ ML की नॉलेज से डिप्लॉय नहीं कर सकते, यू आइदर नीड अ वेब नॉलेज और यू नीड एंड्रॉइड नॉलेज। तो लेट्स जनरली लोग वेब यूज कर लेते हैं क्योंकि वो सिंपल है थोड़ा। तो तुम्हारे पास वेब नॉलेज है, तो तुम कैमरा चालू करोगे लेट्स से अपने लैपटॉप का, फोटो खींचोगे, देन उस फोटो को उस फाइल के अंदर से पास करवाओगे, वो फाइल एक आउटपुट देगी, नंबर 0 1 2 3। तुम्हें ऑलरेडी पता होगा कि 0 ये है, 1 ये है, मतलब स्टोन पेपर सीजर है, एंड देन तुम वो बाहर प्रिंट करोगे। तो दिस इज नॉर्मली हाउ प्रोजेक्ट गेट डिप्लॉयड। जो एक्चुअल होता है, मतलब कंपनीज में होता है, वो इससे बहुत ज्यादा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड होता है। उसमें जनरली वी यूज डॉकर, डॉकर बेस होता है वो सब सिस्टम। डॉकर और माइक्रो सर्विसेज आ जाती है, मतलब डॉकर बेस्ड माइक्रो सर्विस होती है, जिसके अंदर से चलता है। वहां पे बहुत सारे ऑटोमेशन लगे होते हैं, कि अगर मॉडल गलत आंसर दे रहा है तो उस डेटा को वापस भेजो, वापस मॉडल ट्रेन करो, वो सब होता है। बट इफ यू वांट टू डिप्लॉय प्रोजेक्ट, दिस इज द वे। मॉडल ट्रेन करो, उसको एक फाइल में एक्सपोर्ट कर लो, देन उस फाइल को किसी भी जैसे वेब सर्वर्स है वहां पे डाल के उसको कॉल करवा दो।
अच्छा, वैसे होता है.